We are looking at what I call poetic devices, and we start with the song. I have no wisdom of my own. I have no wisdom of my own. Holy Spirit, I look up to you. Help me. I have no wisdom of my own. Sometimes nothing is as it seems, particularly when it comes to scripture. And the reason why I titled the podcast Poetic Devices is because, I learned a lot of poems back in the day. And sometimes, if you don't have commentaries on the poems, you can actually lose your way. And the same thing also applies to scriptures. You really need to get commentaries, compare scripture with scripture in trying to understand what the scripture is about. And of course, you also need the Holy Spirit. Let's take two examples. Daniel chapter 8, verse 15. Then it happened when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, that suddenly there stood before me one having the appearance of a man, and I heard the man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near to where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said to me, understand, son of man, that the vision refers to the time of the end. So even when we get messages from God, we still need God to help us to make sense of those messages. Another example is Acts 11, verse 6. Food was being prepared. Peter slept and saw this vision: four-footed animals of the earth, wild beasts, reptiles, and birds of the air. Then he said he heard a voice saying to him, get up, Peter, kill and eat. And eventually, people had arrived, and this was going to be the introduction of the gospel to the Gentiles, who, of course, were looked down upon by the Jews, and they could put two and two together. So a lot of the times, and this is actually season 2, because you also get messages from God in your dreams and visions, and you also need, to apply yourself to be able to understand what it means. Sometimes you need to put two and two together. Sometimes you need God himself to give you direction of what it really means. And so the long and short of it is that we still need to depend on God, no matter our state of spirituality, to help us make sense of, these visions and these dreams and even the scriptures.